Hey, welcome to YSR Shorts. Do you need a will? I get that question a lot. Do I really need a will? Um, the short answer is yes. The long answer is it depends, but yes. Um, it really, for the most part, most people need a will. If you're over the age of 25, it would probably be beneficial. Is it critical? Probably not, because I don't anticipate many 25-year-olds passing away. It's very tragic if that happens. It's more the 85-year-olds that pass away. So it's not super critical, but important. But what does the will do is probably the bigger question, because people look around and they go, I don't understand why I need this will. Is a will tells your assets where to go after you die, because there's a real quirk in the law. While you're alive, you have full control of your assets. And after you pass away, you're not a person anymore. You're what's called chattel. Chattel's an old English term, and it relates to anything that's not the land that you own. It's your horse, it's your cow, it's your wagon, it's your tools. That was chattel. And when you die, you become chattel for somebody else, believe it or not. If you think about it, this one got me for a long time, and I still see it on TV. I'm watching The Pit. I'm rewatching The Pit on HBO. It's a great show. And there's, in the first season, there's this young boy that's brain dead, and they're talking to the parents about Rusty, whatever his name was. Rusty was an organ donor, and the mom's like, absolutely not. And the mom finally comes around, and yes, I think that's a good thing. Is Why are they asking the parents if he's an organ donor? Why are they asking the parents if they can harvest his organs after he passes away? Because Rusty's not around anymore. Rusty actually can't make that decision. When you sign an organ donor card, or you put it in your driver's license, that's not ensuring that's going to happen. Is somebody else has to make that decision, because you're no longer alive. So you're no longer alive, and you have a whole bunch of assets. Where are they going? Who's getting them? What's going on? You don't know. Now, there are assets that do know where they're going. So think about this: anything jointly held. So if you're married and you own a home with your spouse, if something tragically happened to you right now, your spouse would inherit your house. It's that simple, because it's jointly held. Same thing with joint bank accounts and the like. If you have anything with a beneficiary, so if you have an IRA and it has a beneficiary, if you have a 401k and it has a beneficiary, if you have life insurance and it has a beneficiary, you're all set. Please make sure you have beneficiaries on that. I have bumped into a second case recently where somebody did not leave a beneficiary on their IRA. It's a disaster. I have a whole podcast that I think we've done recently on this issue. It's a disaster. Make sure you have beneficiary forms updated on your IRAs, 401ks, life insurance. And then the last category is sort of rarely used, but I see it somewhat frequently with special cases, but it's a POD or TOD type of account. So pay on death, transfer on death. And it's like putting a beneficiary on a CD or a bank account or an investment account. We see it sometimes when people have an extra estate planning quirk that they need to utilize. But other than that, everything you own, your car, your stuff, the state doesn't care too much about the stuff. Um, Bank accounts, investment accounts, all of that has no idea where to go. It's the will through the probate process. And yes, a will does go through probate that manages all of that. Um, if you don't have a will, you are going through probate, and you're utilizing what's called the laws of intestacy, or the intestate laws. And what that means is the state has a set of guidelines that says, okay, if somebody doesn't have a will, X percent goes to this person, X percent goes to that person. One of the real interesting quirks is if if you're married and have children and you pass away without a will, and you have assets that are just in your name, not joint name with your spouse is usually, in most states, not entitled to those assets. She's entitled to about half of those assets, but the other half are going to go to your children. That may be okay, but you don't get to make that choice. As the state's making that choice for you. If you don't have a spouse, don't have children, whatever, as it keeps going. I had a case a few years ago where uh, this gentleman passed away. He had a three family in Boston, near a train station, near a T station, subway station. and he passed away with no real living relatives. It wound up that one of my clients was a distant cousin. There was 3 or 4 distant cousins, and they split, I think, $1.2 million. It was a ferocious amount of money they sold the place for because it was so valuable, and somebody condoized it. They knocked it down and turned it into condos because it's a large lot. Yeah, so you want to make sure that you have a will, but even if you have a will, you're going to go through the probate process because that's what it's there for. So that's kind of the long and short. If you have questions, jump down in the show notes. We can help out where we can. Stay safe out there.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Remember, the views expressed are not necessarily those of Successful Money Strategies. All content is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an endorsement of any third party or their views, or as a solicitation or offer to sell securities or provide investment, tax, legal, or consulting services. We believe the information presented to be reliable, but it is not guaranteed for accuracy or completeness. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Hypothetical returns do not reflect actual trading and may not be indicative of the performance of any specific investment. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Additional information, including management fees and expenses, is provided on our Form ADV Part 2, available upon request, or at the SEC's Investment Advisor Public Disclosure website, https://advisorinfo.sec.gov.